job, a relationship, or a dream can feel like your whole identity has been stripped away. But what if your biggest setback is actually the setup for your biggest comeback? Welcome back to Mindset, Health, and Empowerment, the Unfiltered Trainer Podcast. I'm your host, Gina, and today we're going to talk about something that every single one of us will face at some point in our life, but very few of us are taught how to handle. And that, my friends, is setbacks. I'm not talking about little bumps in the road. I'm talking about the rug pulled out from under you moments. The phone call that ends a job you love, the friend or the mentor who suddenly shows their true colors. The loss of something you poured yourself into thinking it was yours, only to realize it was never yours to keep. Those moments that feel like the air has been sucked out of your lungs. I've been there, I'm currently there, and I want you to hear this. What you lose does not define you. It doesn't define your worth, your identity, your power. None of it is tied to a title, a paycheck, or other people's approval or opinions. When life stripped things away from me, I had to learn that if it's not truly mine, I can't hold it, I don't own it, I can't control it, or lose it in a way that takes me out. That lesson hurt, my friends, but it also set me free. It's in these moments of loss that people show you who they truly are. It's also in these moments that you find out who you are. Not the polished version on LinkedIn or Instagram, but the resilient, beating heart underneath all of it. It's where your next chapter begins, even if you can't see it yet. And that's what this episode is about. It's about bouncing forward, not bouncing back to where you were before, because that's not what we're doing, but using a setback as the very material to build your comeback, turning a collapse into clarity, turning heartbreak into your higher ground. Today, I'm going to share with you what I learned from sudden job loss, from watching people reveal true colors, from losing everything I thought was once mine, and how I built a framework to rebuild my life from the inside out. Because if you're in that season right now, I want you to know two things. One, you are not broken. And two, this moment does not have to be the end. It simply becomes the beginning. But at the end of this episode, you'll have a clear, actionable series of steps that you can take to move from feeling lost to feeling grounded, from feeling powerless to reclaiming your purpose, from set back to set up. So take a breath, grab a notebook. This is your time to start bouncing forward. We're calling this Lessons Hidden in Setbacks. When everything fell apart the first time, and then compared to now the second time, I started seeing things I never noticed before. It was like the lights came on in a dark room. Pain has a way of clarifying what matters for you, and it becomes so empowering. So here are the 5 lessons I learned, and maybe you need to learn them too. Lesson number 1 was, you're not what you lose. A job disappearing or a title being stripped away doesn't diminish your worth. Loss only takes the surface labels away. The first time I went through this 2 years ago, I was literally crushed because I didn't have anything really outside of work at that point. I was in physical therapy. I was a coach and an instructor. That was it. My entire life was literally synonymous with job titles. And then I was faced with hitting rock bottom in a car accident with a TBI all at the same time. Then when I think about this round, I think about, here we go. Everything you've built for 2 years, gone again. But this time you have your own thing. This time you've been building your own thing without even realizing what you were doing and how impactful building that thing could be. Lesson number 2. Y'all, people reveal themselves under pressure. It's gut-wrenching, but clarity is a gift. You now know who's really in your corner. You really see who's able to rise to the occasion, and you really see who doesn't know as much as they think they did. For some people, like myself, we rise when things go awry. We find a way, we pivot, we keep our head held high, we keep moving forward, and we don't compromise quality. Now that I've been through job loss, companies selling, companies closing, and I summarize all of this, I've seen even like leaders, like big leaders, just collapse. I've seen people who had titles who had no business having their titles because when push came to shove, they weren't there. They weren't a source of support or reliability. And as I've gone through these years now of experiencing this on more than one occasion, it indirectly shaped me as a leader because I saw the way certain people handled their business. I saw the way some people took their anger and frustration out and talked poorly about others. And I even saw people negatively discussing those who were leading because they weren't capable of doing the same. And it always stuck with me of who I wanted to be and who I didn't want to be. Lesson number 3. Rejection truly becomes redirection. And I know that sounds cliche and you could put that on a t-shirt, but closed doors are pushing you towards a place where you'll be seen and stretched in new ways. And because of that, you will tap into a deeper sense of purpose. You will achieve greater things. And once you allow all of the dust to settle, you will see the clear path that you're meant to follow. Lesson number 4. Ownership matters. Y'all, this is a lesson I am learning. If you didn't build it with your name on it, you don't control it. Now, I built my studio from dirt. There was literal dirt floors. It was an empty shell. And I built that place. I stood in that room on so many occasions, wiping up dirt, moving equipment, making decisions about where things should be, staring at blueprints, learning on the fly. I built this place and I put my soul into it for 2 years, not ever thinking that this would be the outcome. Reality is that I may run it. I may be told on a bajillion occasions that it was my studio. I was the one responsible, XYZ. But when everything happened, I wasn't even in the conversation. The only conversation I got to partake in is when I was told what was going to happen to me and my team. And there was no discussion. It was happening. Loss teaches you to pour your time into things that are more aligned with your values instead of just pouring into somebody else's vision. Now, this is in no negative, disrespectful way or anything, honestly, because I am full of gratitude for what the last 2 years have been. I had so much to learn about myself, my leadership, how to be a better person, how to be a better leader, how to handle when things go awry. But the reality is, the hard lesson is you either are an employee building somebody else's dreams and company, or you pivot and do the extremely difficult thing that is entrepreneurship. It is not selfies and cute outfits and events. Entrepreneurship is a next level grind. But at the end of the day, it's yours. And you are building something for you. Not everybody is meant to be a leader. Not everybody is meant to be a boss, quote unquote. I hate that word. Not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur. But the resounding thing that has been said to me in these last 2 weeks is, Gina, you need to do your own thing. Now, I know a lot of people have tried to encourage me to open my own studio. Y'all are funny. This is Tampa, and it's too expensive. They are not making small business ownership easy, and I'm not laughing in a ha-ha way. I'm just literally baffled by what's happening in the Tampa Bay area, and that includes Hillsborough, like Tampa proper, and Pinellas, because a lot of small businesses are closing. And it's heartbreaking because people are literally pouring their life savings and taking a chance. And because the economy is trash, because we're not doing anything to support the working class, everything is going awry. And you're going to keep seeing businesses close in this area because nobody that actually works in Tampa for Tampa companies is making a livable wage to match the cost of living here. A lot of my friends that do really well all work from home for companies that aren't in this state. So I don't think we're done with companies closing. And it's heartbreaking because I read an article last week talking about one small business that had been open like 17 years and one that had been open around 13, and they were closing because of the cost of living and just how terrible the economy has got. So again, you learn the hard way that through these unforeseen circumstances, situations, these uncertain times, loss clarifies values, which is lesson number 5. When everything superficial is stripped away from you, which happened to me the first time, what truly matters rises to the surface. And you can use that clarity to rebuild a life aligned with real priorities. The first time I went through this, y'all, I had nothing to my name. I was not in a good place. And I learned because of that, because I was so focused on building that studio at the time and really thought that things were going to be different. I never really was thinking about myself or my own needs or God forbid, what if something happens to you? So then something did, and I had my car accident, and I was faced with the reality that something seriously life-altering happened to me, and I had nothing to my name. And I had to force myself to work through that while I was in treatment, and my life was a living hell. This time, your girl's in a totally different place because I will never put all of my eggs in one basket for somebody else again. Point blank, period. There are certain lessons I learned the hard way, y'all. But what I dealt with 2 years ago and where I'm at now, they don't even look like the same person. And I'm honestly so proud of that. Because as heartbreaking as this situation is, and it's just because you're losing like the most wonderful community I could have ever asked to build, I am so prepared for what to do when stuff like this happens now. So this is where I invite you to jot down which one of these lessons hits home the most right now. And really think about it. Because this whole ownership thing has completely changed how I'm going to be operating moving forward. And one of these lessons might just do the same for you too. Learning the lessons is the first step in all of this, but knowledge without action keeps you stuck. So next, I want to give you the steps I took to bounce forward when I thought I was going to hit rock bottom again. I call this the bounce forward framework. We're going to talk action plans. I don't want to just inspire you because if you're just inspired, you won't do anything. I want to hand you a roadmap that you can actually use when life sideswipes you too. So here's 5 actionable steps that you can take today to bounce forward. Step number 1, ladies and gentlemen, feel and release. Y'all, you gotta allow grief, anger, and fear. At first, I was in actual shock. And then I got extremely sad. And then at some point I got angry. And it was the weekend that I got angry that I built everything that I built that I announced this week on my social media. Now, I did not journal. What I did was I talked as I walked. I talked as I drove. But if you're not somebody that wants to talk to themselves, respect, journal, voice note, do what you need to do. But I walked it out. I talked it out with myself. I want you to name the emotions that stop you from running your own life the way you want. Whether that's fear, you're questioning who you are, imposter syndrome. I want you to really think about what is stopping you from running your own life. Step number 2. Now it's time to audit the experience. Ask yourself, what is truly mine and what is not? This might hurt a little bit. Then I want you to look at what patterns do you see. This is how you extract lessons instead of carrying baggage. Now, first time I went through this, I was pissed. I was so upset. Now, the circumstances around how both of these events have happened are completely different, thank God. And that's part of the lesson. But when I think about how much and how long I carried that loss with me, I would like to have slapped myself. Like, stop being a sad little bitch. Like, I carried that for so long. I let it define me. I let it limit where I went, who I was around. I was so ashamed. And this time, I don't feel shame at all. I am hurt. I am sad. I'm more crushed than anything. Like, honestly, the last thing I'm worried about is myself. The thing I'm worried about most is my team and our community. They're special. What we built was different, and there's nothing like it. And that's the hard part of all of this, is you could do something completely right, and it still doesn't go your way because it's not yours. So ask yourself, in the circumstances and situations you're in, what are you actually in control of? What actually is yours? And realize what's not, because it's going to bite you in the ass when you figure it out, like it did me, because I did not see this coming. Now, once you've done that, step 3 is to rebuild your identity. I want you to write down, who am I without this job, relationship, or title? And I'll do this exercise with you because feeling the feels is hard. List your values, your strengths, and what lights you up. Then you're going to make your boss power statement that's going to anchor you. Kind of like what we did at the beginning of the year, that you had your badass mantra. Now, for me, when I think about this whole circumstance, the situation, things that are values, strengths that I know I'm a good leader. I know I'm direct and I'm not always soft, but I know I'm a good leader because my entire concern, response, expression has been about my team. I put my team first. I put myself last. That is a good leader in this situation. I value honesty, integrity. I value the fact that I am very forthcoming. I express how I feel to who I feel, instead of talking about people and belittling people as if that's going to get you anywhere in life. My strengths are my resilience, my work ethic, and my ability to pivot like no other. And because of that, when you pair that with my organization, creativity, and my purpose-driven mission of making a freaking impact, I become a force to be reckoned with. And then I start building, because I don't stop. And I will never stop. Because no matter how low, what happens, what goes wrong, I rise and I handle my business. That is where I find my values, is how I show up, how I take care of people, who I am as a person through and through. I keep my head held high and I remain respectful, but I handle my business. Step number 4, set up your foundation. You got to take one tangible action. Don't overwhelm yourself. Start with updating your resume. Seems archaic, but y'all, you need it. Because then you got to refresh your LinkedIn. I literally went to this month's podcast event, and the girl that was talking, her name is Cassie. I freaking love talking to her. She talked about LinkedIn. And full disclosure, I don't use my LinkedIn. I didn't start using my LinkedIn until I went to PodFest, which is a podcast conference. I had no idea it was a social media platform. I just thought it's where you found jobs. I knew nothing. But it does help. I know the jobs can be oversaturated, over-applied, but the connections are what you need. You can also reach out to a mentor or enroll in a course. I've been looking into like online courses. There are support groups you can join. One step is how you build momentum in this life. But you have to start, and you have to commit, and you have to be consistent. Now, step 5, design the comeback. Y'all, if you could see me, I'm cheesing right now because this is my shit. Make a 90-day bounce forward plan with small, measurable goals. We're going to celebrate the micro wins, y'all, because it's proof that you're rebuilding something that's truly yours. Now, if you want to pause and revert and look at all those steps and take your time, do the damn thing. Do each exercise and then come back. Or if you want a checklist, feel free to like write it out on my social media, on the Unfiltered Trainer. There will be journal prompts posted. There will be takeaways. It'll all be there for you. But in my opinion, pen and paper is where things happen. Now that you have the framework of the lessons you need to take, the steps you need to move through, then you got to figure out how you're going to make it happen. For me, I came up with what was my thing. Like, what is this? People like to say your why, but for me, it's like an action. I want to make an impact. Point blank, period. I want to help as many people as possible. When that massive Powerball, Mega Millions, whatever it was a couple weeks ago came out, I played solely because here was my thought. If you win, you could pay off all your debt and set yourself up for life. You can help your entire family set themselves up for their lives. And then I thought to myself, think about how many people you could help if you won. Like, I was just thinking wholeheartedly about the amount of people I could help if I won the lottery. And again, it went back to, I just want to help people, which is what I said to my dad when I decided to go to college to be in healthcare. Sure as hell wasn't thinking about finances. And now looking back, oh, young Gina, you naive, sweet little soul. But I really want to make an impact. So for me, I had to sit down and think about, okay, you have your own health and fitness business, Gina Marie Fit. That was my first LLC 10, 12 years ago now. I don't even know. It's been so many years. I know I have my online coaching options. I know I have my workout guides, which I spent hours. If you go to my Shopify store, it's linked in this episode. I'm talking hours editing those, upgrading them, improving the format. I then built out my high vibe morning routine, took that guide 2.0 version. I shared as like a free downloadable my little recipe guide, my realistic. I really want to call it, like when I thought about what to call that, I just made it like an easy recipe guide, but it's saved on my computer as the basic bitch cookbook because I eat the most basic foods because I don't want to cook, but you need to eat. And then I built out an energy guide because your girl is woo-woo. I do believe in energy. I believe in the universe. I believe in God, all the things. But I wanted to align it with health and wellness in the mind, body, soul sphere. So I launched all of that. I put it on my Shopify store. It's called Impact Society. And we're going to use those programs to fund this expansion and bring in another stream of income because the event wellness community side is where I'm going full force forward. in creating a variety of events that are different than what I've been doing, but also continuing the charitable wellness events and really establishing what I do well, which is bring people together. I've always leveraged my connections to help other people, so why not leverage it tenfold? So that's how I did my thing. I had a goal. I reverse engineered different ways that I could contribute. So I have a free wellness community now called Impact Collective on Facebook through the Impact Society page. We have a low ticket offer with our ebooks. We have our medium ticket offer with our online coaching clients. And then I have opened the ability to create events, which is a bigger ticket offer. And I'm going to continue to build those out. The reality of all of this, and I know it sounds easy, but I've been doing this a very long time. My story of community and rebuilding did not happen overnight or over a weekend. I didn't just learn these steps in a textbook. I am who I am because I've lived the experiences that I've lived. If I would have had this podcast after the first time I lost my job suddenly and my other job went to hell because the company sold, y'all, you would not have heard any sense of confidence. You would not have heard any sense of planning. I would have just been crying, angry, talking about how much of a failure I was, how ridiculous my life had become, how embarrassed I was, just the backstabbing I endured. I would have just been so focused on everybody else and talking about what happened to me. Instead, when this happened and our company announced that they were selling, I was crushed. My heart is broken because I love these people so much. But it's a completely different narrative this time. And I honestly think a big part about the difference in the last few years that this has happened is that when I was at this situation the last time, I was a year into building Sweating Together for a Cause. Now, the first event was called Coming Together for a Cause because I literally brought people together to raise money to help Metropolitan Ministries. I literally naively did not think anything of that. I just thought I was going to host the event, raise some money, and be done. And if you listen to the last episode, you know that is the polar opposite of what happened. A lot of people came, we raised a lot of money, and a mission was born. And as the years have gone on, I have created this unique scenario where businesses can collaborate. We sponsor a charity. Everybody benefits because it's good for marketing. It's good for social media. It's obviously good for the community. But in my heart of hearts, as I was doing these wellness events, I kept trying to rack my brain as to how could I do more. But I didn't know enough yet. And now, because of all the changes in my life and people I have met in my life over the last 2 years, I've gone to a lot of business events, entrepreneur events, conferences, TED Talks. And I have learned skills that I did not have 2 years ago. Now, the foundation is not nearly as shaky. Now, the transformation isn't just about me, which is why this is not easier because it's still getting teary-eyed every day. Every time I got to talk about it, I get upset and I cry. It's different this time because I watched people come together. I watched people heal and grow and be inspired. And people at some of my events have now launched their own things, their own businesses, become instructors. It's incredible. Like all of these people come into my life because of these random events, not really random, but a lot of people I never knew came to these events. And now they're people that are in my life, reciprocally supporting one another. And that's what's so kind of incredible about all of this is that when I did that first event, obviously I have done every event for free. If you don't know this about me, I have donated 100% of the proceeds of every single event back to the charities, which obviously I love. But when I had a meeting with the business mentor last year, I thought the man was going to pass out on the phone when I told him that. He literally just looked at me and asked me how I intended to sustain my business if I was going to keep doing this. And I said, well, this is why I work 70 to 80 hours a week, to fund my projects. And I thought he was going to be so angry, but he was so shocked. He had no idea I was self-funded and that I was doing what I was doing to keep making this impact possible. It was then when he had a come to Jesus conversation with me about how I needed to create other ventures because I can't keep giving all of my money away. But it was just the beauty of going from being so nervous to hosting what I thought was a one-time event to now seeing, over 3 years now almost, the way people's faces light up, the way donations always flow, and the way that connections and friendships are formed at every single event. There's just something to be said about how community helps you heal, because it's helped me heal, and how we can rebuild parts of ourselves that we didn't know were still so raw. Because of all of this, that is why I am doing what I'm doing. And that is where Impact Society came from. I knew I had to build something bigger than just one event, one program. I had to create a home for the purpose-driven mission that I think I have been literally building my entire adult life. I just didn't quite have a name for it. And that's literally why Impact Society is a place where lessons from stories become a movement that anybody can be a part of. So when I created Impact Society, this was a few months ago, I literally did this on Canva and didn't tell anybody that I had created a home for everything. Because I know firsthand the dark side of going alone and the miracles that happen when people come together. And that's why each pillar comes with heart and hustle and purpose. Still not focused on income or how I can financially gain. We will learn ways to make money. But Impact Collective is the free wellness portion of all of this, where connection comes from motivation, workouts, business tips, exclusive content, and spotlights. Because something that's really important to me is that I accidentally became a business owner. I was a healthcare worker. I knew nothing. Now your girl knows a lot. And I help other friends that are starting their businesses. And people ask me for advice now because I do know what I am talking about now. So I don't want to just have another free health and wellness group because anybody can do macros and workouts. We've talked about this. I also want to share content about building brands, building businesses, and I want to spotlight other people in business without charging you. So that is why Impact Collective is the first phase. It's a Facebook group for now until I learn a better platform, because I know a lot of people aren't on Facebook anymore, but even if you have a blank Facebook, we'll get you in there. Impact Training is going to be the hub of where we start bringing in income to build these events. There are coaching options that are going to meet you where you are, but also take you further. So those are called Elite, Core, Foundation, and Edge. Elite is for the person like my current clients that get weekly coaching. They get me every single week. I created a core program for people that need a little bit less of a tier cost and want monthly coaching without having access to me every week. Then I build out Impact Foundation, which is just online app access for workouts. And then we've got Impact Edge now, which is all encompassing all of my guides. So we've got workout guides that are 3, 4, and 5 days a week. We've got the free nutrition guide that's just recipes. We've got the low ticket offer of having an energy guide. And then you have the option on there, and you'll see it, that you can subscribe to coaching to workout access at a 3-month minimum, 30-day cancellation, or you can just buy a guide and keep it moving and do your own thing. Meeting you where you're at while improving your lifestyle, not hindering it. Impact Nation is going to be the hub for collaboration, entrepreneurship, and purpose-driven partnerships. So we've created Impact Alliance, Impact Amplified, which is sponsorships, and Impact Ascend, which is the event planning side. So the alliance portion is just when somebody's having an event and they'd like us to promote it. Somebody wants to add their workouts to the workout calendar. We're bringing the workout calendars back. Just free, trying to be a good human being, support one another. The amplified sponsorships are for people that want to actively be involved in events, get their information like their labels, their logos, actually be physically involved with the print and the event. And they want to sponsor it, get their items in the gift bags, that sort of thing. And then something I really want to build out over time is the Impact Ascend option. I freaking love planning events. I know it's chaotic. I know events rarely turn a profit. Most of the time you're in the red. I love event planning. I love putting it together. I love making gift bags, being creative. So that is something for people that want to host events and give back and do something similar but need somebody to do all the work. Your girl wants to do that. So I'm going to find a way to give back and make that happen. But my baby, sweating together for a cause, is not going anywhere. It is the charitable heart blending wellness and community-driven desire to give back that made all of this possible. So we are only going to continue those events as I continue to work on my own health, as I've been sick most of this year and not able to host events. We're bringing it back. Behind the scenes, I am working on a variety of different event types. So stay tuned if you're local to Tampa for now. Together, my friends, these pillars form something bigger than any single program. It is a society where connection sparks growth, wellness fuels empowerment, and impact is truly limitless. If you're in a season of loss or rebuilding, here's my invitation to you. I want you to know this. What you're going through doesn't have to be your end. It doesn't have to define you. It can truly be your beginning. You can bounce forward. So I'm inviting you to join the Impact Collective, the free entry point, no requirements, just be in the space and see what maybe will inspire and empower you to create your own thing or take charge of your own health, wellness, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Now, I do want to do one thing, and that's to encourage you to subscribe to Mindset, Health, and Empowerment, the Unfiltered Trainer Podcast, and leave your girl a 5-star review. Now that your girl has suddenly lost her main source of income, not only am I building my programs and going all in with that, but your girl is learning about podcasting and we're trying to be better. Leaving a 5-star review is a game changer for shows because it helps with your rankings, which helps with your engagement, which helps get your podcast seen. So if you're out here listening, and I know it's a lot of you now because I am in 27 countries as of today and 282 cities, which just blows my mind because I literally did this as a hobby. So leave me a review, love on me, support me, give me 5 stars because I'm really grateful you're a part of this journey, all jokes aside. I just feel very blessed and honored that this is my life. As chaotic and uncertain and unstable it is at times, it really has been an incredible ride up to this point. And I hope that today's episode gave you hope, or maybe it helped steer your roadmap that's going to lead you to doing your own thing. I just want to continue to give back in any way possible because your support helps me reach more people who need to hear that they're not alone. And people need to know that there are spaces where people can be as they are, who they are, and be embraced because of it. So I leave you with this. A setback doesn't have to define you. It can refine you. So this is your time to bounce forward, and don't forget it. All right, y'all, you know the drill. I'll see you in the next episode.